after I put in the hard work. Josiah, we've been through this, okay? Please, just now, please.
Sit down before you fall down, Grandpa.
No, apologies. Your grandfather Josiah is a wonderful storyteller on a day-to-day basis. Good for a laugh, good for a lark. But I have a bit more of a flair for the dramatic, shall we say. So your grandfather Jericho is going to tell you this next portion.
Oh boy, this is going to be good.
As our party made their way through the doorway, the turquoise light falling onto them, each their forms seeming to be taken over for a moment as they stepped forward through the door, the stone replacing and sealing behind them as they paused for a moment, taking in the sights before them. A grand temple, a massive shrine, writhing monstrous beasts, mouths opened and vacant as though they had been bit down on something, though their mouths vacant and formless at this time. Where they stood 15 feet above the base of the temple, the ceiling rising yet another 20 feet above them, almost amphitheater-styled seating, large rows, seeming to be able to see a number of dead bodies, humanoid and tiefling. They seemed half-elf. They saw one in Genasi.
Oh, shit.
Deep, burning blue flames cascading around, and before them turned two figures silhouetted against the deep light. The first turning, deep and hooded, serpentine form, a heavy flicked tongue. Did you think we did not expect you? Behind him, another, rising from the water, heavy tentacles falling from its face, replacing its legs, a large leathered tome in its hand. We have seen it. Revealed. The barbarian. Lost. And so full of fear. The brothers. One destined to follow. The other unable to lead. The exalted, burdened with the strength of responsibility, but far too weak to carry the load. And the little lord lying through life, believing that a little alliteration will lead him to the life of luxury and leisure he so longs for. How low he will fall.
Damn,
Did you
dude.
not see this coming?
Well, yeah.
And as the magic swirled around them, shades of the past, Yuan-Tied spirits rising, chanting, before their souls were absorbed, one by one, disappearing into the portal. Their arcane form falling across the two that stood before the party, their eyes glowing a deep turquoise light as deep smiles crossed their faces. The torchlight glue, a deep blue and turquoise, the light behind them shone almost a shadow, a miasma of darkness, falling and encroaching around all of their forms. The adrenaline began to bite, searching into their form. Before they moved, they looked up as the two spoke.
So you think you've got friends in high places?
Arcane energy swirling around them, the water rising from behind them, swirling around the priest's form, binding itself and raising him some 15 feet above the ground as they turned and knew that they would need to seize the initiative.
You're playing with the big boys now.
I'd like to take a moment and say, this is where the fun begins.
Every spell and gesture tells you who's the best. You're playing with the big boys now.
Good old-fashioned DreamWorks films. Fuck yeah.
Big boys now. Playing with the big boys now.
Feeling the adrenaline surge in their forms, the fighter began to act, but before he did, the eyes of the priest began to glow and shine as his vision fell upon the warlock, and his eyes pointed, searching through the realms, learning on the information that had been garnered over about the party over their travel. And the warlock felt his own form be seen through, as though the enemy knew what he would do.
All right. So my plan would be to move right there and then unleash a volley of Eldritch Blast onto the priest and the squid face guy.
A deep smile crossed the priest's face as the pitmaster's eyes flashed his own, and his form disappeared in a flash of smoke, appearing directly in front of the rest of the party, its serpent arms flashing from beneath his robes, slicing and cutting into the two forms that stood before him, the barbarian and the fighter.
Oh, that's bad.
His first strike falling to the barbarian, the second falling onto the fighter.
Oh, shit. Yeah. So, that's...
Caught off guard initially, the fighter felt his form bite, the pain searing through him as the adrenaline formed in his blood, calling him to act.
Okay. Here we go. Is he flying or is he on the stairs?
Looking before him, the Yuan-Ti pitmaster stood on the stairwell, his robes dangling across, heavy snake arms dancing around his form.
Alright, I'll make my way and flank behind him. I'll flank behind him. And I'll call out and garner his attention and give advantage to my bestest battle buddy, Amul over there, against hitting this guy, and then hit him with a little bit of Commander Strike. Kick his ass, Amul!
A heavy strike from the great axe, piercing through the robes into the Yuan-Ti's flesh. Blood spraying out, cascading through the sky before the fighter and the barbarian.
That's all I got. Go get him again, buddy. Got that flanking advantage. That's my turn.
Both strikes cutting into the Yuan-Ti's form. Heavy bouts of blood. Its eyes flashing open wide, its serpent form almost recoiling back, reacting as he dodged backwards, taking the heavy blood dripping across his form, moving backwards through the temple.
Oh, looking like the sneaky snake.
Reaching into his belt, he pulled out a large red vial. Heavy Potion uncorked it and slugged it back within his form, stepping, redding his body again. A heavy smile crossed the UNT's mouth. Just according to plans. As the creatures form again, disappeared in a phase of smoke before appearing again deeper within the temple. The rogue, watching all this happen, felt the adrenaline surge up within his own form.
I'm gonna go there, and then I'm going to use my action to put on my odd poison. Or the spider poison.
A heavy splash of the green glowing poison across the rogue's blade. Steam and smoke rising off, giving almost a green glow, pitching onto the rogue's face, cloaking him in a shade of darkness.
And that will be my turn.
The time pressing on, the Kraken Priest rose up into the water, his form pressing forward. His hand rising, looking off to where he knew the warlock would be moving, and the spell casting, biting out across the open. A black Icarus magical smoke filled the area as a heavy smile crossed the priest's face, and the bard felt the adrenaline surge up within his own form.
And I'm gonna take a look at that priest.
Jumping over the railing, the bard attempted to garner his skills in acrobatics to jump down to the lower floor. Losing a bit of his movement, but only a short step, the bard landed somewhat sloppily onto the stone and raised stairways and seats of this amphitheater.
And I'll use that scorching ray. At the priest.
The 4 strikes firing out, 2 crashing into the creature's form this second, a spray of water coming up and blocking the flame, dissipating across the creature.
That's it for me.
I really hope we can fail those concentration checks.
The creature's eyes glue a deep blue as the crashing waves of the temple cascaded around the temple, slamming it into the barbarian's form.
Damn. Bet.
The heavy water crashing across the mighty Goliath form, cascading around him, but not throwing him to the ground. The warlock, as this Kraken priest had seen before, felt the adrenaline surge up within his own body.
All right, I will run down the steps here and into the darkness. And then I will unleash my Eldritch Blast onto the Pit Fighter and the Kraken Priest and miss both attacks since I cannot see them.
Lashing out through the darkness, the heavy blasts of celestial energy cascading across the temple but not meeting their mark. Watching this happen, the fighter felt the adrenaline surge up in his own form, and as he did, he attempted to step forward. But what he saw gave him pause. as he saw the barbarian's form shift in its stance, as though he saw something beyond, deeper in the temple, something that the rest of the party did not see.
The barbarian saw something? Or I saw something? I did? What did I see?
The fighter watching the barbarian noted his form, wondering what his companion saw deeper within the temple. The barbarian looked deep, past the pitmaster, past the priest, past the swirling whirlpool of water that raised into the air, and saw two forms standing gingerly above the water. And he heard a voice.
Come, barbarian. Show us what you are.
Show us and remember yourself.
Oh, fuck.
Oh no.
As the rest of the party saw not the two spectral forms, but instead saw another rising from deep within the water, a heavy force, water billowing across its sides as it rose. This massive, sprawling beast, 6 heads, serpentine lashing out all around it as this creature joined into the fray.
Ah, yes. That looks like a hydra. Fascinating.
The fighter, seeing this, felt no fear, however, only the adrenaline surging in his blood that called him to act.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. I'll move to here. Let's see. I don't have that range. What can I do? What can I do? What can I do? I will take the dodge action.
Readying himself, preparing for combat, the fighter brought up his shield and blade, preparing for whatever onslaught might befall him.
This is where the fun begins.
The barbarian likewise felt the adrenaline within his own blood, calling him to act. Both strikes lashing out, a rebuking of the demonic forces slashing into this pitmaster, heavy gouts of blood. As deep green Icarus gore sprayed across the barbarian's form, though the creature did not fall. Did you see this? As the Yuan-Ti attempted to speak into the barbarian, to turn his mind away from that of his friends. The magic piercing into the barbarian's mind, his deep rage, fighting back, fighting the demonic powers with his own, digging past into something deeper and more powerful, a new type of rage that boiled within him. The barbarian's mind remained clear as a smile crossed his face. felt the adrenaline surge in his body.
Gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then dash. 1, 2, 3.
Stepping into the pool, the rogue felt himself fall down into the water and begin to tread heavily as he attempted
Bruh.
Should be able to make
Barely
it there
being-
after.
able to make it out and climb up onto the stonework, though still prone besides the Yuan-Ti.
And then I'll use my action and stand up.
Standing up, the rogue righted himself and stared down the pitmaster that stood before.
And that will be it then.
The pitmaster's eyes flashed a deep green as across the entirety of the outer ring of the room the party found themselves in. And the party members that found themselves within the gaseous spray knew that only their constitution would save them now.
Yes!
But both felt their forms, quickly recognizing the sound of the spray coming behind them, brought their tunics up, covering their noses and mouths, taking a quick last breath before and not breathing in the deep poison and not succumbing to it. As the Kraken priest's eyes lit up, a deep magic cascading out, springing up around the barbarian and the fighter. Acting quickly, the barbarians form, responding to sudden acts of danger. Devs step back on top of the snakes that spirits lunged out of the floor, stepping on them crushing beneath his feet. The fighter, unable to do so, then binding, wrapping his form and crushing at his body. The bard felt the adrenaline surge up in his own form, and it called him to act.
Dingus, if you're not speaking, we can't hear you.
Oh shit, sorry, okay. I said, I'm gonna help my man Grief out, who's stuck.
Bet.
Oh. Yeah, you're stuck, so there's that, and for my ability, I'm going to yet again target the priest with a slew of scorching rays.
An arcane sigil forming in the sky, stepping in front of the bard and catching the spell, burning it off and diffusing before it could lash out at the priest.
Guys, watch out. Okay, that's my turn.
As an arcane flashing of darkness encompassed around the party, hiding all of them from view. As the warlock felt the adrenaline surge up in his own form.
All right, I'll shout over. Shit, everyone, get out of the darkness! And I'll to this point right here, and then I will cast Radiant Sickness with a 4th level spell slot. To this point with a 30-foot radius, try and do a compass right here to cover both this Kraken Priest and the Tendril Boy.
That baby.
The arcane energy shone out around the party.
And shit, okay, that'll be my turn.
The fighter felt the adrenaline surge up in his body and it called him to act, though he felt himself blind in the magical darkening circle.
I have to struggle against the vines that are keeping me restrained, right? Is that I'll try and wiggle my way out of them, cutting what I can with what I can get to.
Quickly enough, the fighter cut and lashed out at the black tentacles of snakes that wrapped around his form, cutting himself free as he dropped onto the stonework, though still hidden in darkness.
I'll backpedal, not keeping my chest towards where I was previously had my enemy. I'll backpedal out the way I came in. Five, 10, 15, 20. And I'll make my way around 25, 30 to here. And let's see, that's all that I can really do right now. No more bonus actions. That seems to be my turn.
Surrounded in the darkness, the barbarian felt the adrenaline surge up in his own form and it called him to act. Thinking out, the barbarian felt he could attempt to blindly attack out into the darkness from where he last thought the form was, though he knew that in the blindness it would be to his disadvantage. As the first strike wheeled out into the darkness, the barbarian felt his great axe collide with a form and bite into flesh and armor. Leaping forward through the darkness and stepping out, the Yuan-Tied Pitmaster encroached on the space nearby the barbarian, his long arms lashing across the distance, closing the gap and biting into the barbarian's form. Both strikes biting out deep wounds alleviated by the barbarian's rage, and the poison damage that bit further deep into him alleviated more by his Goliath innate natural form. The rogue, heavy gout of blood pouring from his form, felt what seemed like the wound of a massive great axe into his body as he clutched, stepping, wandering out of the darkness, seeing the Pitmaster before him.
I'm gonna swing. Swing again. And then
the two strikes flashing, biting into the Yuan-Tied Pitmaster's form. As the rogue then stepped away, reeling back, a strike out from one of the hands
Declare your cunning
Biting.
action next time.
into the rogue's form as he attempted to run.
This is why you declare everything that you do on your turn.
Before the rogue continued to move away,
Healing.
the heavy wound biting into his back.
That bite attack though is going to be a disadvantage.
Yep.
The warlock, the only one able to see, felt the fear bite into him as the heavy fangs bit into the throat of the rogue before a pause, a small beat before it faded, the rogue stepping away past.
And then, yeah, we're going to disengage. Thank you. Our second win.
Taking a moment after rushing past, having narrowly escaped death for the moment, the rogue stopped, breathing deeply, catching his breath, as again the temple, the deep waves crashing up, falling across the form, slamming into both the barbarian and the rogue.
I like to think of Moltox like Magic Johnson.
Thrown backwards, taken off of his feet by the crashing waves, the rogue slammed into the wall in the back of the temple, falling prone, sloshing into the water, barely able to right himself as the water poured crashing across the barbarian.
You're Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Oh, fuck.
The eyes of the priest glued, his tome glue a deep turquoise before around the pitmaster, deep energy cascade across his body. The bard felt the adrenaline surge in his form and it called him to act.
Alright, I'm gonna look over at the pitmaster. No, I'm gonna look at the priest here. I'm gonna rip him a new one. Hello? Oh,
The magic cascading across the creature.
and
A deep
Little one, your pain will be great.
as the blood began to pour out of the creature's ears.
I'll go here, and that'll be it.
The massive creature hulking, cascading, crashing the stonework, giving way, falling away and destroying behind him. Its heavy form coming up and its eyes falling down onto the warlock. And in the common tongue,
Heal, my friend, won't you?
Cool. It needs to make a con save at the start of its turn for the radiant light and take 27 damage. Okay, it doesn't take 27 damage.
I hope you have a good
as
wisdom
the
save.
warlock
Raphael.
felt the magical
I don't.
suggestion bite into his mind.
I need to heal his friend. Shit.
And felt the adrenaline surge in his form, and it called him to act, beset by the suggestion to heal this Yuan-Ti Yanthima's ally.
Sure, okay.
Hey, War. Can I make that dice roll a 20?
What would happen flashed through the bard's mind, knowing what was at stake, knowing what it would cost him and his party. He dug down deep, reaching into his pocket and pulling out a small gray and white coin. For a smirk crossing his bardic halfling form, he fluck it into the air, spinning through the air and cascading before him. And the warlock felt no spell bite into his mind as the adrenaline surged into his form, calling him to act.
How about you can just go fuck yourself? I'll run up the stairs. I'm unleashing an Eldritch Blast onto this creature. Fuck me, I guess I could just turn into a big old note.
Both strikes slamming into the heavy scale body of the creature, the magical energy falling off. Unuseful.
Shit. I'll bonus action and give 3d6 healing to he gets 12 hit points back, and that will be my turn.
Nice.
Guys, a little help!
Hearing the magic cascade across his brother, the fighter felt the adrenaline surge up in his own form.
Hearing Alfeo call out, I'll move to his aid and dash to his aid. I'll get to here, and that's where my movement caps out. Unfortunately. Pick your targets. Be smart about your attacks. We don't have any room for error.
The pitmaster standing before him, the barbarian felt the adrenaline, deep rage call up in his body and called him to act.
He knows you're coming. The other, he will fail you. Bakari.
The heavy serpent arm coming up, wrapping around the barbarian's hand, stopping the attack. The second strike bit across the creature's form, its head severed, falling onto the stonework at the barbarian's feet and then rolling into the water.
Luke is going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Jack 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and
The two strikes scattering across the heavy scales of the creature. The rogue stepped back, eyes wide as the ineffectiveness of his attacks.
And that'll be my turn.
The priest's eyes glue as a deep magic fell across him.
Hopefully he can make that con save. And take 4d10, please take 4d10.
As the magical light cascaded into the creature's form as he stepped forward out of the bright light, heavy gouts of blood pouring across him. Eyes raising, looked, falling onto the warlock yet again.
Boy's got a point of exhaustion. That's all that matters.
Hell yeah.
You will end.
As the black tentacles lashed out across the warlock's form.
Alright, I can do this. I can do this. It's
Disadvantage on that attack, so I don't know if that would do anything on that.
perfect. It's a dex save.
Okay.
You're cool. Thank you, though.
I try.
Woo!
Acting quickly, the warlock stepped back as this black serpent tentacles lashed out of the ground, attempting to bind and destroy him, but were unable to.
You're gonna have to try better than that if you want to end this.
Nearby, the bard felt the adrenaline surge his own body, and it called him to act.
I'm gonna look at the priest again, and how the hell do you brush your teeth with all those tentacles in the way? Breath must smell like ass.
And the bards felt in his nostrils a deep, pungent aroma of rotten fish and bloodied carcass waft across him, almost dealing damage in its own right.
And that'll be it for me.
Heavy and angry, the Yuan Tiathema looked down at the two that stood before him, its heads splitting and looking at the two forms, attempting to strike out at the barbarian first and the rogue second.
Holy fuck!
That's a +10 to hit right there.
The heavy strikes
get hit?
biting into the barbarian. As the second
Yeah.
strike, two of the mouths, forming almost into hands and fangs, lashed out across
Did both those
towards
hit
the
you?
rogue.
I'm gonna hit. I'd like to cutting words this attack on Luke.
Yeah.
The attack lashing through the open air, slamming into the auditorium stairs and stonework besides, heavy stones kicking up all around the party. The warlock felt the adrenaline in his own body that called him to act.
Okay, so I will... Fuck me. Jesus Christ. I should be able to move this far, counting difficult terrain. Then... Scheiße. Bonus... Heal a mole for 3d. Puts me with 1 healing light left.
Oh shit.
Alright.
As the arcane energy formed up, spreading out towards the barbarian's form, and was a crash of water and waves slammed across energy, filing it across the ground.
Sure, whatever. Alright, yep, that sucks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and throw a radiant bolt at the Kraken Piece face. A guiding bolt. I want to I want to.
splashing into the torrent of water that raised the Kraken Priest high into the air.
That's my turn.
The barbarian, heavy, deep wounds throughout his entire form, felt the adrenaline cling to him.
Greeth is dead.
Right. Oh,
I don't know where he is on the board.
I'm also not on the map.
Yeah.
I
Amul,
ever
you did
exist?
take half that damage because you're resistant to bludgeoning or what?
Oh, thank God,
Yeah.
there I am. I thought this was about to be some sanity bullshit. I was about to lose my fucking mind. I have no idea what the fuck
The fighter
just
felt
happened.
the adrenaline bite in his form as he attempted to step forward, rushing to aid in his friends in their combat.
Dash, dash, dash. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. 45, 50, 55, 60. Would I be able to attack the creature or at least garner its attention from standing on top of these bleachers and bearing up at it? Well, fuck it, I'll try it anyway.
The massive form of the creature, the fighter felt confident he could strike out and aid in the combat if he so wished.
All right. I'll go to drink that potion of fire of dragon's breath that we picked up from earlier. I would use my action surge to do it.
Be coming out the other end.
Reaching into his pack, the fighter dug around, pulling out one of the potions and popping the cork, slunging it down deep. As he felt the magical energy begin to roil in his stomach, and almost a bitter spiciness begin to form in his throat.
I'll attempt to breathe out against this creature.
A heavy gout of flame out from the fighter's mouth, across the creature's form.
You dare!
I believe I've successfully garnered his attention, so I will attempt to give my best buddy a move advantage on his next attacks against this thing.
You good there?
The first attack, gouging deep into the creature's form, lightning energy cascading across, biting, ripping, rending through the flesh of the creature. As the time ticked on, the rogue felt the adrenaline surge up in his own body, and it called him to act, called him to aid in his barbarian's quest.
Beat him up. Poison.
Gouts of blood and flame, poison, biting into the form before falling back out of the creature. The heavy flame and blood slashed, biting a deep X into the creature's form.
And that will be my turn.
The deep, crashing waves once again, though missing, splaying around the sides of all of the party that stood in the area.
Somebody's a squirter.
not end yet. The binding waves pushing forward, the priest seemingly able to attack in its own right, the waves crashing across, a heavy tentacled fist lashing down, slamming into the bard's face.
Disadvantage on that strike. Disadvantage. Yeah, that's right.
As the bard's face turned a slight smile and turned back, forcing the hand off of his flesh. As he felt the adrenaline surge in his own form and called him to act.
Do the thing, Bingus! Depth charge, Bingus! Yeah!
The arcane energy rippled up the torrent of water that lifted the Kraken priest off the floor.
Am I able
cascading,
to
dissipating through the flames.
use this cutting words against his roll?
Yes.
I want to interrupt his constitution save.
As the water cascaded around the Kraken priest, a heavy smile, the bard let out one last quip as the energy struck into his opponent. A derisive laugh as the creature thrown back. A heavy gout of blood poured out of its mouth, spraying across the bard's face. Nearly losing consciousness, the Kraken priest struggled deeply, fighting to remain strength before stepping back again, reaching into his pocket and pulling out You have some tricks, it seems.
And that'll be my turn.
As the Anthema's mouth staring out, his eyes focusing down onto the rogue that stood before him. His first strike, reeling down at the displaced form, attempting to force its way through it.
Uh-oh!
16 misses.
Biting into the form it thought to be the rogue before it fading and dissipating. The second strike reeling around down at the fighter that stood beside him, slashing a heavy slash before bringing around a second strike of the fang-turned claw.
I will attempt to parry the claw attack, but I will I'll get hit by one claw.
The second strike, caught by the blade, flying over the fighter's head, crashing into the stone. He ducked down, looking back up at the heavy creature that stood before him. And the warlock felt the adrenaline bite up in his own form and called him to action.
All right, let's go ahead and get this Eldritch Blast onto the Kraken piece go.
The two shots slamming into the creature's form as it two heavy gouts of blood, the tidal water crashing away and falling, the creature's body falling the 15 feet before landing sickly and whacked onto the ground.
All right, then for my last action, I'm going to... Or, bonus action. No, I'll just walk here and end my turn.
Confident another combatant fell, the fighter felt the adrenaline surge in his own body and called him to action.
So, what's the party thinking? Should I breathe or should I virtuoso? Breathe. I'll breathe.
Breathe.
I'll breathe down on this creature.
Another
Oh,
spray of
shit.
fire cascading across the creature's form. Flames licking, biting, burning away.
Well, you know what time it is? Party time! It's your turn.
The adrenaline surged in the barbarian's body.
I mean, all of his heads
Heavy
are still
wounds
there.
across the whole creature, all heads around, blood pouring from many portions of its form, though it seemed not fell yet.
You do like the Babe Ruth thing where you point your axe?
I will have one for you. Yes.
As the second strike bit into the creature's form, it recoiled back some, seemingly a glint taking into its eye. As its form, its deep scales beginning to burn, flake, and fall as ash onto the ground around it, as its form fell away.
Phase 2!
And was replaced with its true form, that of the Fang of Apophis.
Well, that guy looks intense.
That's a bitch. He just got all of his health back.
Flying back before it, its bite lashing out at the barbarian that lay before it.
Oh, fuck.
I'm gonna have to.
That's crit.
The renewed form of the Fang of Apophis truly revealed to the party, slamming into the barbarian, heavied fangs, piercing, biting, form and blood all throughout the barbarian's body before it recoiled back, slithering and readying itself for the next phase of its combat. As his
And you're
barbarian
playing for
companion
Spartans.
fell beside him, the rogue felt the adrenaline, first the fear, then the rage and anger, almost as though his barbarian had given him a bit of his rage in his dying moments. Felt the adrenaline surge in his form and called him to act.
I'm going to give Amul a greater health potion and, like, basically force it down his mouth.
Digging for one of the potions he had found within the temple before, reaching down, uncorking it, and just forcing it down into his barbarian companion's throat. The potion down into the form. The barbarian's eyes flicked open.
And then Luke is gonna move to here.
It does seem to have the high ground. Oh god,
The bard
the waves.
felt the adrenaline surge up within his own body, called him to action.
Actually, I want to go here. Let me see. I'm trying to get my distance. Give me 1 second. Okay, he's like right on the edge. I'm gonna say, what is this? Dragon Ball Z? You're gonna keep it changing into your final form.
Good hustle.
This will be all you see, little rabbit.
We'll see about that, buddy. Just you see. Alright, Alfeo, get him.
Blast
with
this
his new
piece of
form,
shit into oblivion.
dismissively passed to by his bardic friend, felt the adrenaline bite in his form, called him to action, called him to act.
Seeing this thing transform, my concentration on the radiant sickness will drop. And I will walk right here and activate my radiant consumption as a bonus action.
His eyes lit. Eternal celestial flames encompassed his form. A bright light shone all around him.
And I will unleash 2 radiant blasts onto this Fang of Apophis.
The arcane energy lashed out. 2 strikes bit into the form of the creature. A heavy gout of ash and smoke and flame billowed from its many faces. His eyes reeled and caught itself onto the warlock.
Yes, okay. It takes a full 20 plus 7 plus 5. So a total of 33 damage. I push it back 20 feet, reduces movement by 20 or 10, and that will be my turn. Fuck you, bitch.
The creature pushed, forced backward. As the fighter felt the adrenaline surge up in his own form and called him to action.
I'll down my 1 greater health.
The magical energy cascade across the fighter. A deep breath taken. His mind became right, focused and calm as his mother and master had both trained him to do so.
Surround it, push it in, and keep it in the corner. And I'll make my way up another level from the, well, actually, no, that can't. Those aren't stairs. Those are things. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and I'll make my way towards the stairs. Keep it on its
Rushing
toes.
forward, the fighter cut, stepping towards the stairway. The barbarian felt the adrenaline surge in his own body, hearing the footstep of his companion nearby. Attempting to fly into this rage in front of this monstrous creature, this greater demon, a true entity of the court of the abyss. The barbarian felt the fear catch in his throat for just a moment, unable to fly into his rage. The first strike, flying up through the air and uppercutting the creature, a heavy slash of blood across its jaw, ash and fire and brimstone cascading across the ceiling, almost igniting the stone itself into flame. A heavy gout of blood sprayed across the barbarian's face. The creature's form, its eyes glowed bright red and bloodied. Having reached a bloodied state, its eyes beginning to panic. A deep, angry rage. Fire and brimstone pouring all around it as it moved backwards, deep within the pit. Its voice spraying out, speaking.
You said you wanted last words, correct? As the warlock and barbarian,
Oh god.
Shit. Damn, I rolled a 6.
as this ethereal voice
Spoke out. The two felt their forms bite, rend into them. The barbarian's form dropped lifeless, unmoving,
I go dead.
onto the ground. The warlock suddenly, the sound vanishing from his senses. The eyes caked in blackness.
Dude. Shit. I am only diff right now. That's good. Okay, cool. God, Amul just got fucking obliterated. Shit.
You do have Revivify.
I don't have any spell slots left.
Oh, fuck. Okay. Bingus! Dash. We need to move back up and running ASAP. Me and Luke are going interference.
2, 3, 6. Bonus action dash. Get all the way there.
You should get some better ears, dude.
I'm gonna do a medicine check to try to stabilize him.
He's dead.
Kneeling down, attempting to check the vitals of his barbarian friend. Taking seconds, his full time, the rogue realized, not bleeding out, not unconscious, no life gripped to the form of the barbarian before him.
Yeah, he's fucking dead. We gotta run interference and make sure Bingus gets to him in time.
And with that, I'm gonna switch out my. I'm gonna pull out. No, I'll keep my. I'm gonna put my sword on the ground and pull out my flintlock. And end my turn. Flintlock with my shield still out.
Eyes burning with a deep, fiery rage, the Yuan-Ti Anthema, this fang of Apophis, lurched forward across the battlefield. As a magical energy cast emanating across it.
What?
It's
The
fucking
rogue's
jumping
form.
around.
The rogue's form, a slithering snake, past him, felt only his strength or dexterity be able to save him as the heavy, massive form attempted to trample on his small, roguish body.
That's you, Luke.
Oh boy. Saving throw.
All right,
Strength.
Oh no.
Oh,
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, it's all three of you, I believe.
Is it?
The rogue's form slammed backwards onto the ground, heavy muscle rolling across him, feeling himself crushed. Witnessing this, the bard felt the adrenaline surge in his own form as the Yuan team, the Fang of Apothis, passed behind him.
all right. I'm gonna pull this out of my ass. Pull out my loot. Hit the sword.
With thunderous energy slammed inside of the Fang, but cascaded off, dealing no damage.
Am I engaged with him right now?
Looking up, the bard saw as the large form of the Yuan team, the Fang of Apothis, stood just before him.
Yes.
I need to get over to a mole, so I just used my action. I'm going to shit myself because the Fane of Apothis is in my face. Help me, guys! Help, please! Help! Alfeo, help!
Phil, you go over the top and act as artillery. I'll act in the trench. I'll draw its fire while Bingus makes away.
I was hoping
The
to blast
adrenaline
this-
surged within, yelled out towards the warlock, though unable to hear the cries of his bardic companion. Still able to see, though unable to hear, the warlock's vision wheeled around at the chaotic environment in the battlefield around him.
I'll whip my head around in the air, trying to look for the Fang of Apothis, and just look at it. With fury on my face, I'm going to unleash a volley of Eldritch Blasts.
Oh shit!
The first strike slamming into the side of the Fang, pushing it back.
It
Heavy
takes
more
me-
gout of blood.
Awesome, great. It takes 8 plus 13, so that's 21 damage it takes. It reduces movement speed by 10, and that will... I'll move here and end my turn.
Watch as the two strikes slammed into the Fang of Apothis. The fighter felt the adrenaline surge his own body. He knew the time was short. The creature seemed panicked, blood pouring from all over across its heavied body as it reeled its heavy eyes, gazing across the room.
God, I'm glad I didn't skip leg day. 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. So I'll dash to get there, and oh shit. Hell, I'll try this. What can I glean from this guy?
Sulfur and brimstone fire poured in the fighter's face as
God, I love my life.
Just your normal Alabama Gator.
Yeah, pretty much.
the the fighter stood in front of the Fang.
I'll look at it, raise my shield, raise my sword. I'm fucking smiling right now because I mean this is the fucking worst situation I've ever been in. I mean it's. This
Ah,
is
god
fucking
damn it! I got
hilarious.
potato juice all over the floor.
All right.
The barbarian's form lay lifeless and still on the stonework cast in the turquoise light before the rogue. The rogue felt the adrenaline surge in his own body and called him to action.
I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're dashing. 9, 10, 11, 12. And we're gonna shoot at it.
A heavy shot ricocheted off the side of the Fang of Apophis.
And then we will
A deep breath taken in. As the heavied form pathed a large X into the pathway of the floor, the fighter and rogue felt their forms needing to respond to the heavied form. The fighter caught, slammed by the heavy form.
Bardic inspiration.
His feet dug into the stonework. The creature's form stopping. The fighter's veins in his blood, reeling, his muscles screaming, but louder over them, the screaming at both his mother and master, over the pain in his mind, pain in his ears. The creature's form was stopped in its tracks. And the bard felt the adrenaline surge in his own body, and that it was his time to act. Quickly running across the battlefield, the bard sprinted up. Could see his barbarian friend laying on the stonework.
And I will toss what's off this guy be like, is that all you got there? You need more than one head to think of that? Okay, this is just a little rabbit here. Don't worry about it, I guess. And, that'll be it.
The warlock, undeterred, not able to hear the threats of the Fang of Apophis, stepped forward. His adrenaline surging in his body called him to act.
You want to bring an end to this? Let's do it! And so I'll unleash another volley of Eldritch Blast after going to 39 life.
Be the firework, Alfeo. Damn it.
Both shots ricocheting off the Fang, cascading in the roof, heavy scouts of stone, blast, smoke, and debris filling parts of the room, obstructing some view before cascading down.
Hey, Hickory.
Yeah?
Good luck. My turn's
Yeah.
done.
Oh yeah. These are the nightmare scenarios I live for.
His hands pressed against the Fang of Apophis, the muscle and sinew biting, stretching, reeling through his form. The fighter felt the adrenaline call him to act.
Fang of Apophis, eh? I've got a fang of my own. And I'll lash out with my rogue short sword.
Oh, I thought you meant something else.
Pushing back against the creature's form, pulling his blade, seeing a flicker, the green glint of gift from his brother. The fighter's blade cut forward, bit into the path of the form. bit up into the body of the Fang. Fire and brimstone ash cascaded across the ceiling of the room.
You are weak. This means nothing. The gate has been unsealed. The Fang will rise. All you know shall fall to chaos. The spark of life shall be reborn. The demon shall rise. This threat
spoken out in common, cascading across the room, directed at the entirety of the party, but said to the fighter. The fighter responded.
All I know is chaos, man. You're just another Tuesday for me.
The blood ripping, using as a hook to pull the Fang forward. A heavy gout, the creature's body cascaded. You will burn. As the creature's body ignited deep red flame and ash, solidified before crumpling. A heavy Fang falling, resting onto the stonework. The Fang of Apophis destroyed. The party stood, all but one living and breathing at the moment, but victorious
I'm running,
over the
right?
temple of the Serpent Queen.
Fuck yes. First matter of business. Rafael, take care of yourself. Luke, Bingus, take care of them all. I'll go pick up that Fang, make sure no bullshit happens from it.
Spells cast, arcane energy. The magic spread across from the bard onto the barbarian.
I'm gonna pull out the diamond out of my pocket. Look that at a bowl.
And back from the death. On the brink, the barbarian's eyes.
Oh, yeah, spells
In his
wrong.
ear, a slight voice. So, now you remember. As the barbarian's eyes flicked open, the party all survived, all stood looking around. Their enemies fell before him, and on one side of the room, a massive horde, larger than any had seen before. Gold, platinum, weapons, artifacts, all ripe for the taking.
Nice.
Bet.
Hooray! You survived! You did it!
You son of a bitch, you took us on a wild ride on a whirlpool and I'm getting sick.
War.
I loved it.
Right as a mole comes back, I would like to cut his head.
You can count the whole thing as your kill, man. You dealt so much damage. Like, that is... Aside from the 2 breaths attack I hit, I had no idea that, like, last bit of the rogue short sword was gonna kill it. I was just hoping it would be a cool one-liner before I fucking died.
I'm gonna just drop my fucking forearm and stab at both of these fuckers through the throat with a dagger to make sure they're fucking dead.
Amul, if you want the Fang of Apophis,
That's for you,
it's
Amul.
yours.
Awful.
You killed it. You killed it. I think you deserve some etchings for it.
I think you might deserve some loot and some other things, as I'm very, very happy to tell all of you. As you have cleared the Temple of the Serpent Queen, you have defeated your level 8 dungeon, you have fell the Fang of Apophis. Aside from, once you take your next long rest, receiving level 8.
Yes!
You all also earned, it's funny you say achievement, Luke, because you all did unlock somewhat of an achievement.
What would that
I
be?
will be adding it now in one moment. 1 second. 1 second. Oh, I need to make a new roll for it.
Utterly
I will do it later,
fantastic.
but you will all note the next time you slide into Gilded that you are all officially no longer rat catchers. You are tried and true, proper adventurers in my world, as experienced and as tested as any others, well capable of taking on